Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you doing? Hope you are doing well with your fasting. Today is gonna be our ninth episode for our program to stay connected throughout this coronavirus pandemic. My name is Hudam Al-Mizroui. I'm from Oman, and this is our ninth episode. I thought that because many people have been reflecting a lot upon this, and many of us are waiting when we are going to go back to our previous lifestyle. When is this pandemic is going to be over? I remember my daughter yesterday was we were having our meal, and she started asking me, "Mama, when can I go and play in the park again? When can I meet my cousins, my family members, my neighbors, friends? When is this gonna end?" So from that conversation, I realized that many of us at the moment are having this sense of waiting, and we are just eager to go back to our previous lifestyle and to do the things that we used to do before. And many of us also are living in some kind of fear now, fear to meet people, fear to go out, even to do some grocery shopping, fear of being exposed to this virus and to be infected, especially with the increasing number of people who are being infected. It's almost now 4 million globally, and the number of people who are dying is very, very scary. So I think this kind of situation can give us some sense of stillness, and just to do some reflection and to find out what is really going on, what is behind the scene. And I remember a book, I have been reading a book that is called Man's Search for Meaning. It is one of the most powerful books I have ever read. It helped me to find out the meaning in any situation. There was this story of Victor Frankle. He's the writer of this book, and he's a psychologist. He had to survive being in a camp, in a prison camp. He faced the death of his mom, his dad, his brother, and he was put in that camp, in that prison camp, for over 3 years in World War II. He was deprived from all kind of humanity. He didn't have proper food there, and he suffered a severe illness because of the harsh condition he used to live there. And when he was there in that horrible condition, he observed two categories of people. One category is the kind of people who were depressed and who were tired of life, and they were just waiting for the moment to die. They had no reason, no any other motive for them to live anymore. And the other category of people, of prisoners whom he observed in jail, was the kind of people who had something to live for. It was either their kids waiting for them, their loved ones, unfinished work. Some of them had unfinished projects they had to finish. So when he saw these two different categories, he was wondering, why is this kind of differences? And then he started writing this book, Man's Search for Meaning. And the bottom line, the summary of this book is, whatever situation we face, any kind of situation, that we can be really, we can lose our lifestyle, to go out and live a normal life, to be locked in our homes. But the only thing that we can't lose is our ability to respond to that situation. And that is a very powerful thing that we have, is how we respond to the situation, our attitude towards this pandemic, and the beautiful meaning that we can extract from this pandemic, so that it can help us to cope with it and to move forward instead of complaining or blaming or whining. And after reading this book, it gave me a very strong sense that really we do have this ability to respond. And I would like to give you some key points of what are the beautiful meanings that I managed to capture from this pandemic, and maybe some of you managed to do that as well. The first thing I observed was in my country, in Oman, I realized that the number of car accidents have dramatically reduced. And I thought, I was imagining that if not the coronavirus pandemic, there could be more people dying in car accidents. So it's just like this pandemic, it saved people's lives in other ways. Of course, there are people are dying, but in other ways where car accidents have been reduced and other things, it saved people's lives as well. And another thing I noticed also from this pandemic is how busy our life was before the pandemic. The rush, and we really didn't have the time to reflect upon what we are doing. We were busy with work, with family, with obligations, social obligations, community obligations, and many things. And we didn't get the time to get back to ourselves for a moment and reflect what is going on. This pandemic forced us to stay calm, stay still, and come back to ourselves for a moment and reflect what is going on, what we have been doing with our lives, with our families, with ourselves. And it's really a blessing, I believe, to be able now to reflect upon ourselves and to be still in this way, especially with this lockdown situation where it's very minimum for us to go out, and most of the time we are spending inside our homes. So now this is the time for us to reflect upon ourselves and to stay calm and just notice what is going on around us. The third thing I observed from this pandemic is the relationship part. You know, when we are all busy and we are in rush and the life is taking from us all our time and energy, we barely get the time to pay attention to our partners, our parents, our siblings, our friends, the people we love. And I noticed with this pandemic, it revealed some hidden tensions in relationships. Many people have been telling me that, Hudam, there are things that I didn't know about my husband. And with this pandemic, it gave me the chance to sit with my husband or to sit with my children and to find out what kind of tension was there in the relationship. How can I become a better person, a better mother, a better daughter, a better wife? And those kind of tensions, hidden tensions in the relationship this is the perfect time for them to come up and to reveal themselves, so that we can find out more and figure it out how we can resolve those differences and accept each other with love and forgiveness. And the third thing also I noticed from this is, from the pandemic, it's giving us now the chance to live more humbly, more simply, and without wasting a lot of our financial and energy resources into unnecessary things. If you noticed, before the pandemic, it was like most of the people now are addicted to shopping, going outside for pleasure, traveling, buying things that could not be all the times necessary. So when this pandemic started, it's like we are now going back to living basically, just living and taking care of ourselves. Let us say now my husband is shaving by himself now. He learned to do it. And manicure and pedicure, I have learned to do it now myself. My kids, I remember I used to take them to kids play area for them to play. I just thought that nothing at home they can do. It's just boring, and iPad and television and books. So I need to take them somewhere, and I have to pay so that they can go to somewhere and play. But then with this pandemic that changed our lives, I realized that there are many unnecessary expenses that we were engaged with, and many things we can really do them at home. We can turn our life into becoming a more humble life, more simple lifestyle, and reducing the financial wastage, the time, the energy wastage. And it's really, it helped us to open our minds more and to figure it out what kind of lifestyle we were living and how we can enrich our lifestyle and live more humbly and beautifully instead of buying and doing unnecessary things without even thinking. So these are some of the main points that I observed, and with some people that I've been chatting with about the impact, the beautiful impact, the beautiful meaning that we can find out from this coronavirus pandemic. I have got 3 simple questions that I would like to offer to you as bonus questions, and I want you to think of these questions as reflecting questions, and you can write down in your notebook. It's just giving you some space and gap to find out what are the meaning you can get from this pandemic to help you to generate or to focus on the beautiful thing that we can find out from this COVID-19 pandemic. The first question is, what is your why? What is your purpose in life? Sometimes we are living in our life following the system, go to school, go to college, work, earn, take care of your family, but we forget to ask ourselves, what is our why? And what is the thing that really excites me as a person? It can be, some of the people might say, I love my children, and I feel very, very happy and alive when I'm with my kids. Others might say, I love my partner, and I love spending most of the time with my partner. Or others could say, I want to open my dream business. So I want you to ask yourself this question: what is your why? What is the thing that uplifts you, that inspires you to do things, that makes you feel really, really happy and full of energy at that moment? The second thing is what is your love goal? The emotion of love is very, very powerful. And I don't know if you have noticed, but this emotion normally drives us to do things without even feeling. It can be the love for your God, the way you sacrifice for your God, focusing on everything and trying to please our God. Some people might say, of course, after loving our God, our parents, our spouse, our children, our community, friends. So think about this for a moment. How can you use this love emotion, your love towards your God, towards your family, towards your parents, and shift that love, that emotion into doing your work, into your daily tasks, into adding meaning in whatever life you are living at the moment. And the third one is, how can we find meaning in suffering? All of us have got greatness in us, courage, and unbelievable potential. And you can't discover that greatness in you unless you step into a challenging situation, some kind of situation that is very, very difficult. And that is the time for all of us to find out the courage that we have in us, the greatness, the power that God has given us. And with this pandemic right now, I believe that many of the people I see are very, very resilient, and they are doing really, really well during this crisis, especially with encouraging each other, doing exercises at home, doing many, many activities with their kids. We have got greatness in us, and this greatness, this courage that we already have cannot be explored or utilized unless we face this kind of situation, this kind of crisis, this pandemic. And it is giving us the chance to use our braveness, use our greatness. And when I started reflecting in this way, it helped me realize that actually we can look at this pandemic in a very meaningful, good way, and that it's really giving us the chance to improve ourselves, work on ourselves, and learn more about ourselves and about the people around us. So I hope that these 3 questions can you can get some meaning from them while you are reflecting upon yourselves in relation to this coronavirus pandemic. And I was so happy really to share this information with you. And I advise you again to, if you can, go read this book, Man's Search for Meaning by Victor Frankle. And it's one of the most powerful books, and it can really help you to find out the beautiful meaning from any kind of situation, any kind of suffering that you might face. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.